Good afternoon, and welcome to How to Run an Hour of Code with CodeHS for middle school and high school. We're going to take you through the ins and outs of how to run an hour of code with your students during uh, Computer Science Education Week. I am your host for this evening. My name is Christopher Evans. I'm a PD specialist here at CodeHS. I was a classroom teacher for 18 years. I was a computer science teacher for the last 10 of those using CodeHS in my classroom. So I'm excited about being able to bring my classroom experience to other teachers using the CodeHS platform. So a rough agenda for what we will be covering this evening. We are going to look at what hour of code is, how to choose an hour of code activity, what you need to do in preparation of running your own hour of code, some other ways that you can engage your students during CS Ed Week, and then how you can get support from the CodeHS team and any questions that you may have. I am putting the link to the slides in the chat. So if you would like to have a copy of these slides, you may. If you have a question during the presentation, you can either click on the Q&A option and ask your question there, or I have opened up the chat and you can ask your question in the chat as well, and I will do my best to get that answer. Do not be afraid to interrupt me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. So, what is CodeHS? If you are not familiar with our platform, we are a comprehensive platform for teaching computer science K through 12. We have a completely web-based computer science curriculum. There are no plugins, no additional software to install, no nothing. If you have a web browser and an internet connection, you have CodeHS. We offer both online and offline professional development, and we have a full platform of tools and resources for teachers to support bringing computer science to the classroom. We have a submission system with instant feedback, so you can immediately communicate with your students, let them know how they're doing. The system itself will reply back when they have submitted their code and let them know where their errors might be. We have a lot of tracking tools and grading features so you can keep track of what your students are doing, and you can monitor their progress. You can keep an eye on how things are going for checks for understanding and things like that. And again, the entire platform is web-based. There are no additional downloads, plugins, software, anything. If you have a web browser and you have an internet connection, you have CodeHS. If you do not have a CodeHS account, you can get a free account at codehs.com/sign up. You can create your free teacher account and have access to our entire catalog. So what is the Hour of Code? The Hour of Code is a nationwide initiative to introduce, oh, my presentation is still on slide 3. Hold on one second. Thank you for letting me know that. I'm going to reshare my screen. I apologize for the confusion. There we go. Now that's the right screen. I do apologize for sharing the wrong version of the slideshow. Okay, back to where we were. Sorry about that. Get back. So there again, if you need if you need a account, you can go to codehs.com/sign up. Back to what is an hour of code. Hour of Code is a nationwide initiative to introduce millions of students to 1 hour of computer science and computer programming. Uh, the overall goal, of course, is to have fun. Uh, we're trying to get students excited about computer science and encourage them to sign up for computer science courses. The Hour of Code goes hand in hand with Computer Science Education Week. The goal is to expose more K-12 students to CS with Hour of Code tutorials. We are also trying to increase accessibility and equity of access for all students. CS Ed Week is always the second week in December. This year it falls on December 9th through the 15th. And it is held in recognition of Grace Hopper's birthday. Her birthday is December 9th. And if you are not familiar with Grace Hopper, she was a pioneer in computer science. She was a U.S. Navy Rear Admiral. She is one of the first women to really bring computer science to the world. She helped develop the COBOL language and is credited with coining the phrase or the term debugging after she found an actual bug in a computer. She found a moth. So this is a good lesson for your students to introduce who Grace Hopper is during this week because we have that's why we are celebrating CS Ed Week when we are is to celebrate the legacy of Grace Hopper. So how do you select an hour of code? We have a full library of hour of code activities. We have programming with Carol the dog. Carol the dog is our mascot. That is a very beginning level uh, activity. They can be used with block code or text-based code, and it's a little cartoon dog that the students send on different little activities and missions and things like that. I am putting this link in the chat. I typed it wrong. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. Putting that link in the chat to our Hour of Code landing page. We have activities for React Native mobile apps. Those are kind of advanced, but if you have some upper level students that want to try their hand at writing some mobile apps, we have activities for those. We have web design. We have some activities using art. We have activities using music. We have graphic based activities using Tracy the turtle, which is a mascot for Python. Using graphics, there's a whole library of hour of code tutorials that are turnkey and ready for you to use. So how do you choose the right tutorial guide? How do you choose the right activity for your students to participate? So we have a little chart here that kind of helps narrow down some options for you because we do have a lot. You can see we have a ton of activities. So choosing the right activity can be a little daunting, especially if you're trying to introduce this into a course that is not computer science. Just because this is for Computer Science Education Week doesn't mean you have to do this in a computer science class. It can be introduced in any class. We have schools that do school-wide hour of code, and every subject has their own project and their own thing that they do based on their subject. So starting out with absolutely no coding experience. You can just start out and do an exercising Carol for really all grades 6 through 12. Carol is a great place to start they have no coding experience whatsoever. We also have some themed activities, music, art, sports. Those are really good beginner lessons as well. We have Tracy the Turtle graphics programs. And then getting into high school, we have some higher level things that even though there's no coding, they're still a little advanced for middle school. So we have web design, and then we have an activity with Bitcoin and a collision simulator. And then you can see the rest, how the chart kind of progresses through the levels and the experience of the coders and whatnot. So when you get up into the darker blue here, you see that we have some VR and mobile app activities. We have some data visualization. We get into blockchain and things like that. So this chart is on the slide, so I will provide a link to the slides at the end again, so you can see, so you can have access to this chart, and it'll help you pick the right activity for you. So to explore all of the CodeHS hour of code options, the link I gave you, codehs.com/HOC, will take you to the website as well, or you can just type hour of code out long and it takes you the same. It's the same thing. So what do you need to do to prepare for running your hour of code? Well, the first thing you need to do is to create a teacher account. So codehs.com/sign up as a teacher. You get your free account. You get access to the entire CodeHS library, including our hour of code activities. Then choose the hour of code that you would like to do with your students. We have a lesson plan that is attached to your choice, and then you can review all of the material that goes with that lesson. You can run an hour of code with no experience whatsoever in coding and still be successful. We have provided everything that you need, that anyone can just pick it up, share it with their students, and everyone can get experience and share in the celebration of the hour of code. So the next step is to decide how your students will access the activity. Are they going to log into CodeHS? Do they need to create an account if your students already have an account? However you need to do that. If you're already operating in CodeHS, you can assign the hour of code to your students in an existing section, or you can create a new section. If you're not using CodeHS in your classroom, you can create a new section and have your students enroll in that section, and then assign that hour of code activity in that new section. If your students will not be logging into a CodeHS account, and that's totally fair. If this is the only time that you're using CodeHS, you may not want your students creating that account. You can have your students go directly to codehs.com/HOC and then click the start course button on whatever activity you have told them that you are doing, or you can share the direct link to the students based on the activity. One note is, if your students are not using a CodeHS account, their progress will not be saved. So if you want their progress to be saved, they have to be logged in with a CodeHS account. Otherwise, it is a one and done, and they will not be able to save their progress. Some other things to consider is your environment. Does everyone have their own workstation? Does everybody have their own laptop, Chromebook? What is the situation? Is it a computer lab? Are you sharing the space? The other thing to consider is headphones, because there's a lot of sounds and videos and things that go with these lessons. So it's helpful for the students to have their own headphones. It is also possible to run stations with multiple options. If you can set your room up in a way that you have the students grouped together, and then they can decide which activity they want to do. So for mobile app lessons, React Native apps with JavaScript, things like that, they should have access to a smartphone, and it can be iOS or Android, either one. There is an app they will have to download. It is a free app. We do recommend that you prep in advance for this and have them download it before class, because otherwise you're taking up class time waiting for them to download the app. So this is the only instance when we aren't providing everything, because the lessons are actually writing apps, and so they need a way to run these apps, and there's an emulator that they will have to download in order to do that. We also provide a slide deck for you as the teacher. I will provide this link at the end for you to get to the slides. It's on the screen there as well. If you need a slide deck to introduce your activity, we have provided that for you. You can make a copy of the slide deck, make any modifications that you need to, and you can introduce coding, CodeHS, and the hour of code all at one time to introduce the lesson that you're going to be covering. We highly, highly, highly recommend that you take yourself through the tutorial before the event. Especially if you are unfamiliar. If you are a veteran computer science teacher, this may not necessarily be something that you have to do, but if we still recommend, so that you can answer questions more easily and know what the students are talking about. So we highly recommend that you go through the tutorial before your actual class event. We provide lesson plans and teacher guides for all of our hour of code lessons. We're going to look at all those here in a minute so you get a better idea of what those look like. We offer discussion questions as part of the lesson plan. You can use these to get the conversations going before class. You can use them after class to as a wrap up. These are all included in the lesson plans to help facilitate some questions from your students. Some of your activities will have a handout. Some of the handouts will be planning, will have planning purposes and whatnot. So always check and make sure that you have these handouts available. If you need to make copies of them, if you need to print them out and make copies, if you're going to share them electronically, however you're going to do that, make sure you are prepared and you have taken care of all of that before your hour of code starts. The teacher guide and lesson plan, provides solutions to all of the activities. This is part of the turnkey operation where you don't have to have any coding experience. We are providing everything that you need to teach this lesson to your students without any kind of experience necessary. We have some videos for Hour of Code. You can learn about the CodeHS IDE, some real life examples, and why coding is a necessary skill to learn. There are some student-facing resources when the students access the activity. The Docs tab will take the students to the documentation for the activity that they're working on. It will have explanations. It's kind of a virtual textbook that will explain everything that they're working on a little bit higher level. and there's a shareable URL. And again, I will demonstrate all of this here in a second. So some 15-minute classes, can the students save that? Yes. Yeah, that's not uncommon. Some class periods only have 45 to 50 minutes. And yes, if you have the students create an account and you're running through like running it as a class through CodeHS, then yes, you can come back the next day. If they are not logged in, it will not save their progress. But if you know that you are going to have that you don't have the full amount of time to cover this lesson and you want to give them extra time, take some time to create your section beforehand and get your students loaded in and everything. So all you have to do is just start your activity. So yes, that is, if you have that patient, you would have to have them create an account and you would have to create a section and everything for them in order for them to save their progress. The students should be able to work at their own pace. This is not a lesson where you're up at the board, you're explaining all of this to them. We're all working together. That's not what this is about. This is a fun activity to introduce coding. You will have some beginning things with them, but once the students get started, they should all be working at their own pace, and it shouldn't be a high stress thing. It should be really low key and enjoyable. Each tutorial should take about 45 minutes. That's why we recommend the whole hour if you have it. That way you have time for the beginning and the end, and the whole thing takes the tutorial takes about 45 minutes, and then you have some cushion in there. Remember to ask problem-solving questions for the students. This is computer science is all about solving problems. It's problem-solving skills. So make sure that you're asking the students questions and about problem solving. Is it possible to do that in January? Yes. The hour of code activities are part of our course catalog. They are there to be used whenever. If you're getting to the end of the semester, we've got the holiday break coming up, and you need something to fill out the last few days, but you don't want to introduce any new content, you can do an hour of code activity. If you're going into spring break, you can do an hour of code activity. If you've done state testing all day and this is the only class that you get at the end of the day, that's happened to me. I don't know how many times where I only saw one class that day and they all had been testing all day. You can give them this hour of code. We're telling you about when hour of code is celebrated globally, but that doesn't mean you can't use these all year long. So that's an excellent question. Yeah, these are not limited to being done the second week of December. That's just what we are celebrating is Computer Science Education Week and the Hour of Code, and that is a global event. But please feel free to use these in any other capacity that you want. There are a lot of opportunities for collaboration. These lend themselves to group work very easily, and a collaborative work amongst your students. And don't be afraid to address the entire class. If somebody asks a really good question, stop everybody and talk about it. Have the discussion. The point of all of it is to enrich the students, get them experience, and share coding and computer science with them. How you do it is entirely up to you. If this activity ends up fostering conversation that takes up the whole class period, that's amazing. We love that. You can do the activity the next day. So make this work for you and however your needs are for your class. And again, we have the ability to share. So make sure you share out what your students have been doing. So some other way that to get your students engaged in during CS Ed Week. Um, I'm going to put this whole big thing in the chat real quick. Um, these are a lot of the things that we talked about in our in the presentation today. So we have your hour of code resources here. How to choose the right tutorial. So your hour of code resources are part of our knowledge base. Um, there's some videos here on past hour of code activities, things like that. The how to choose the tutorial is that chart that I showed you. That's a direct link to the chart. You don't have to dig uh, through the slideshow. Uh, CS1 Java for Texas schools. Yes, we do have Java activities. Let me pull up the list and we'll find you one. Absolutely. Um, I actually am in Texas as well. I'm just east of Dallas. So yes, absolutely, we have Java for Texas schools. Um, the Hour of Code teacher guide. This is just a simple, condensed version of what we've been going through uh, on this call. The admin guide. So if you have any administrators that are curious what this is all about, there are some things that admin can do to support and what they need to know about the hour of code. There's a parent guide. If you want to share these out with your parents, you can share these out, and it lets the parents know what they're doing in this hour of code thing that my kid is talking about. This is you can share this out with them, and it has ways that they can be involved if they would like to be involved in the hour of code. Um, planning process and whatnot. And then lastly, this coding in the wild. This is a blog that we host of how coding is being used in real life. Um, so we have coding for dating apps, web consulting, web apps, things like that. And so these are all articles about how coding is being used in the real world. And your hour of code, yeah, can be hands-on coding activities, but it can also be introducing computer science and coding to your students as career options and exploring that. You could do that for your hour of code as well. So, um, so our hour of code website. This is the list of all of our activities that we have with Hour of Code. And so you can choose high school, middle school, the skill level, things like that. So we'll look at high school. And we have some Carol, we have some web design, we have some Python. Um, we have some interdisciplinary here with science and mathematical, Bitcoin, um, creating virtual worlds. And then here is your hour of code in Java activity that you were asking about. And we'll take a look at that as well. Since you asked about that one, we'll look at that as the demo real quick. And then so these are all of our um, our options that we have. So we're going to go look at the lesson plan for this coding with Java activity. So here's your lesson plan, and most of your lesson plans are going to look relatively the same. You have a direct link here to the assignment that you can share with your students. This is if they don't have a CodeHS account, you can share that link with them directly, and they can go to the activity. So there's tips on how you can share out the hour of code on social media. There are ways you can expand on your hour of code and some tips for just overall what you can do. So here are the notes specifically about this activity. You have your objective. So if you're having to do your put your objectives up on the board, we provide an objective for you that you can put on the board. The discussion questions that I talked about. So you have some things you can introduce and get the conversation started. The solutions to the exercises here that they have. And so, yeah, that is your the lesson plan, and it's going to look fairly similar depending on what you're doing. So in this one, here is the hour of code for Java. There's a short narrated slideshow.
In this video, we're going to talk about printing in Java.
And it'll take the students through the activity. Then there's a sample exercise here that shows them how it works. So they run it and it prints out hello world. And then along the bottom here, these are all the different pieces of the puzzle. And it works all the way up to a Mad Libs project where they'll actually get user input to create their own interactive Mad Libs. So when they're in the coding environment, this is where they can get to their docs that they need for the activity. And to share out their project, let me go to one. So if they had written this, they can share out their oh, hold on. Oh, it's because I'm on the teacher side. That's why. This is where you would find the share options would be up here. I apologize for that. That's because I'm on the teacher side. The student side has different options. So, but yes, this is how you would, how your students would share out that assignment. So, some last minute things before we wrap this up. If you need support for during your hour of code or at any time when you're on the platform, if you ever need support, look for this big blue chat icon, and that will get you to an actual human person. You will get an automated response to start with that has suggestions for knowledge base articles that you can read based on your question before you get a response. But someone from our team will respond to you very, very quickly. That is also available on the side bar under support, where you can get to our support center and our knowledge base. And the knowledge base is very in depth on articles that can help you out. Some other resources. We have a certified educator program. If you are very passionate about CodeHS and passionate about computer science, you can become a CodeHS certified educator. You can earn micro credentials and get a badge for your email showing that you know JavaScript and you know Java and you know Python and whatnot. We have a Facebook educators group And then you can follow us on social media as well. So, two things I am going to ask of you before we wrap this up. I am putting this link in the chat. If you would take a couple of seconds to fill out this survey, let me know how I did. Let me know how I can do better. And we strive here on the PD team on feedback. So please let me know what you thought of the presentation and what I could do better. And then if you would like a certificate of completion for today's webinar, you can click this link and this will get you your certificate of completion. Now, you must be logged into a CodeHS account. If you don't have a CodeHS account, create one real quick at codehs.com/sign up and then click this link, and then you'll be emailed your certificate of completion. So the badges is for micro credentials. They are short exams that test your knowledge of JavaScript, Python, Java, cybersecurity. We have several different ones. And upon completion and passing of that exam, I think it's like 25 questions maybe, you get a certificate that says that you have gotten this micro credential, and you get a badge that you can put on your email or social media or wherever, showing you that you have completed that exam as well. And if you are a CodeHS, if you do have a CodeHS account, on the left-hand side under PD, you can find the micro credentials there. And that is how you can access those exams. And if you're anything like me, you live on those little badges. And so, yeah, I highly recommend it. If you're an astute coder, then absolutely try out those things. The next step to complete. The link here that I put, I'll respond directly, but it's the attendance link that's in the chat. The codehs.com/HOC 2024-attend. When you're logged into your CodeHS account, click that account or click that link, and it'll just pop up and say thank you. And that's it. There's no other step. It'll just be a thank you message, and then you'll get a certificate emailed to you probably in the next 48 hours. So if you are interested in bringing CodeHS more in depth to your school or your district, please reach out to us. You can find us here at codehs.com/learn more. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your attendance. Yes, it's going to just take you straight to your CodeHS account, and it should just say thank you. There's nothing fancy about it. So I'll show you what it looks like when you go to the link. Well, when you click the attendance link and you're logged in to your CodeHS account, this is all you'll get right here. It's nothing fancy. So yes, again, thank you for your attendance tonight. If you have any other questions, please reach out to our wonderful support team, and they will help you. And please share your experience with your hour of code with us on social media. We cannot wait to see all the wonderful things that people are going to do in their classroom. And even if you're not doing it during the CS Ed Week, share it out when you do. We love to hear about what you're doing in your classrooms and how CodeHS is helping you reach your students and share the importance of learning how to code in the classroom. So if you don't have any other questions, I will close this out, say thank you and good night. And there will be a recording of this available on our on-demand library. and you will get your certificate of attendance emailed to you if you click that link. Thank you very much and have a good night.